You are listening to KMKR LP 99.9 FM in Tucson, Arizona. This time for the Venus Rising Show with your host, Venus Box. And it is right around 6 o'clock, I hope. And you never quite know what time it really is. Anyway, today I have a very special guest, somebody that I've known for many years. And she's come to Tucson a few times, and hopefully we'll get her back here and do a special show for her somewhere and bring her into town on tour. My special guest today is Edie Steed. She's a wonderful singer who lives in Silver City, New Mexico, and she and I have been friends for probably 15 years, about, and we both came from St. Louis, and we lived very close to each other, even though our paths did not cross in St. Louis, but they did cross out in the southwest of a small, tiny town in New Mexico. Anyway, Edie is an amazingly wonderful singer and has been performing for a long time. And I think you're going to enjoy her story. Growing up in St. Louis, growing up in the church, the different opportunities that she's had to perform and sing different styles of music. And it's going to be a joy. So enjoy the interview. So I'm sitting here in Diane's in Silver City, and I'm listening to the dulcet tones of Edie Steed and Ben Schlam as they perform jazz standards at Diane's restaurant. Hi, Edie.
Hi there, Venus Vox. How are you?
I'm doing really good.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to, do a little more recording here and talk to you guys in between songs, if you don't mind.
That sounds really good to me.
All right.
Erika. What do you want to do? Oh, we have it. That sounds good.
When that's where you left your heart.
dream about magnolias in bloom and wishing I was there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans when that's where you left your heart? I miss the one I care for more than I miss New Orleans.
Beautiful. That's gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, here we are at the end of the night at Diane's Parlor, Silver City, New Mexico.
I know, and I'm really curious. So there's a little thing that when you're singing that song about New Orleans and about the Mississippi, we all have a little bit of a history with a little farther upstream, don't we?
I think so. I think you're right about that. You gather 3 people from St. Louis in one spot. I don't know what's going to happen.
I know, right?
We're not even drinking Budweiser.
Oh my gosh! Oh dear.
The ceiling's gonna fall on us or something, but that sort of reminds me.
Oh, the ceiling's falling on us, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because we're not drinking Bud.
So what are you guys gonna play next?
Well, speaking of St. Louis, do you want to try it? It's one that we are working on, and it's a little bit shaky. No, I can't remember the name. Oh, yeah.
What's it called?
I think it's under yes.
Oh, that's a new song for me. Oh, wow. Okay.
You don't know this song? Oh, my
I
God.
don't think so. What's it called?
Anita O'Day does it, and Della Reese.
Oh, yeah?
And it was actually done by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm looking forward to your version.
From St. Louis, you climbed the ladder of success. I've seen the flashy foreign cars that were parked out in front of your fancy address. You came a long way from St. Louis. You broke a lot of hearts between. I met a gang of gloomy gals who were doing alright till you came on the scene. You blew in from the Middle West and certainly impressed the population hereabouts. Well, baby, I got news for you. I'm from Missouri too, so naturally I got my doubts. You got 'em dropping by the wayside, a feeling I ain't gonna know. You came a long way from St. Louis, but baby, you still got a long way to go. Hey, baby, I got your address, and I'm a St. Louis woman, and you still You blew in from the Middle West and certainly impressed the population hereabout. Well, baby, I've got news for you. I'm from Missouri too, so naturally I got my doubts. You got 'em dropping from the wayside, a feeling I ain't gonna know. You came a long way from St. Louis, but baby, you still got a long way to go. You left St. Louis far behind, and keep this little thought in mind. Oh, I know you can, 'cause baby, you've got a long way to go. Oh.
Yay!
Thank you. All right. I need to go back to St. Louis.
St. Louis,
Pick it up
come back
again.
with me. Come with me. I'll go.
I know.
Let's go together.
You guys, wouldn't it be fun?
Wouldn't it be fun? Let's go as a trio.
All the way back from St. Louis. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going that far. I'm going to stay in the West.
Yeah, I like the Southwest. The Southwest is good.
I don't think I can go back east again.
No. So what else you got for us tonight? I'm enjoying this so much. What's like your favorite song?
Well, you know, lately my favorite song is Beautiful Love.
Oh.
Or But Beautiful. Both of them are one of my favorites.
They both sound beautiful. They're beautiful, but...
Funny, or it's sad, or it's quiet, or it's mad. It's a good thing, or it's bad, but beautiful. To take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache, either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful. That would be so beautiful. That would be but beautiful. I know. Love is funny, or it's sad, or it's quiet, or it's mad. It's a good thing, or it's bad, but beautiful. Beautiful to take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache, either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful. That would be so beautiful. That would be but beautiful. I know.
So, Edie, I'm so glad that you're here with me today.
Thank you.
And this is so much fun. So, we heard a little bit of music from last night. I came to hear you and Ben.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about you and Ben playing music together.
There's a young piano player here in Silver City. His name is Ben Schlam. And met him through you. I call you my personal Sparky or my personal musical Sparky, because usually my musical associations and things that get started usually happens through you.
Awesome. That is a wonderful legacy, if I can claim that at all. That's amazing.
Sort of, there she was, just a walking down the street, singing "Do-Wah-Diddy," and then here comes Venus Fox, saying, "Oh, well, come along and meet so and so. Oh, come along and, gee, you guys should exchange numbers. Oh yeah, you sing blues. Oh yeah, you like jazz. So thank you so much for introducing me to Ben." Mm-hmm. And I went to hear you guys, he being your piano backup, and you were playing flute here in Silver City at the Tranquil Buzz.
That's right.
And whenever you're in town, it's an incentive for me to try and come out.
Oh, cool. Well, that makes me feel good. But I am so glad that you've had a chance to meet Ben and that you guys are playing together. And it sounded really good what we were listening to earlier. I really enjoy that.
Thank you so
combo.
much. I think we're really having a mind meld, and it's kind of unusual that Ben is interested in jazz of early periods and wanting to play piano in a way that is conversational and inventive and space, and some of his idols being Earl Garner and the gentleman who played with Billie Holiday a lot. So he listened to those kinds of piano stride players.
I can hear that in his playing now that you mention it.
It really is very interesting, and he knows where he is, even though I've never seen a piano player play as many keys as he plays. He doesn't like to leave a key untouched on the keyboard, but he turns it all up and down and gets me back in the spot that I need to be. So it's been fun for me to play with him and be able to pass down what I call the Dane Dexter Songbook.
Speaking of which, that's another interesting collaboration that you've had for quite a while. You were working with Dane Dexter, and you had a weekly residency at Diane's for a long time?
Yes. Dane Dexter Culbertson happens to be a well-schooled, renowned musician who has had quite a storied career, starting out being the trumpet to John Coltrane's saxophone.
Wow.
When they were in the Navy music school together during World War II. And it was their duty, along with a few other players who went through the Navy School of Music, to create little bands, and mostly jazz bands of the 40s style music of World War II, to greet back sailors and military personnel as they came back. So they were stationed in Hawaii, and through John Coltrane, he interacted and met with quite a few other players, neighbor to Miles Davis, did music with as a trumpeter with Aldo Ray, which was a big band player. So he did a lot of work in trumpet, but then he taught himself piano in such a way that he became an arranger. And he was arranging tunes in the late 50s in Hollywood.
Wow.
So, how he really came and got to Silver City, I'm really not sure. But as he became an older person and had associations and friends, he tended to travel about the country and lived in different spots, but always had his music, especially music of the jazz standards, to carry with him. And he even had a CD he produced up in Wyoming.
Wyoming is where he moved here from.
Yeah, he moved here from Wyoming and created, while he was up there, a couple of different CDs, and they were called Dinner Music. Dinner Music with Dane Dexter.
So I hate to interrupt you, but there was also a picture that I believe I've seen of Dane with Charlie Parker.
Yes, when he was in Hawaii with the Navy band, he encountered Charlie Parker and made that association. And so it's just kind of amazing to see a young, fresh face, Dane Dexter, giving a young Charlie Parker, giving him some skin, in the old days of jazz, when you rub two hands together and give me some skin, man.
Right.
And there's Dane in his sailor suit and Charlie Parker.
That's so cool. Yeah, Dane is very interesting. He is an amazing arranger. He's very, very good.
Yes, I've learned so much from him as far as learning jazz standards. I've always liked to sing, and that kind of music was always in my awareness as being just a collector of that kind of music, appreciating Billie Holiday. I think Diana Ross did a lot for me to bring Billie into my full awareness when she did the movie Lady Sings the Blues.
Oh, right. Right.
So, just being a young kid, I wasn't a kid, but just...
we won't go there.
We won't go there. Came to music late in life, but anyway, learned a lot from just listening to the ones that I liked and realizing the old music was very comforting for me, very comfortable, because it was the music of my parents, who were, my dad was born in 1900.
Oh, wow.
And my mom in 1916.
Wow.
So that was the music that I heard growing up, even from my older cousins, Diana Washington.
Right.
And they had given us some 45s. And as a little kid, I think I was like 4 or 5, but I would love to play this one Diana Washington song on the 45. On one side was I'll Take Manhattan, and on the other side was September.
Wow.
And I used to love to imitate her. The leaves are brown, tumbling down September. Do you remember September in the rain? In a little girl's voice of how I was imitating Diana Washington, who is so distinct.
She is,
in her vocals during the 50s. And so I was very irritating to the rest of my family by leaving the arm up on the 45, and it plays over and over and over and over and over again.
So your career actually started quite young.
It really started quite young, of the appreciation of that music, even though Motown was in the neighborhood, and that's what everybody in school was listening to. But I had also, during middle school, picked up the clarinet. And I think, my dad's influence, the kind of TV programs we listened to back then were the big band, Mitch Miller and Lawrence Welk,
Right. Yes.
And so, my big aspiration was that I wanted to be Pete Fountain on the clarinet.
Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, he's good. Yes.
So, and then I loved old movies and anything with, Benny Goodman and, anything. They had the big bands. It was just a favorite of mine.
hearing about your family's influence, the music of your parents and your older cousins and stuff, and then coming along with Dane, and that probably brought a lot of that music to fruition for you in a way.
It really did, and it made me feel that I could actually do it, even though previous to moving to Silver City, I used to live in Taos, New Mexico, and had encountered some jazz musicians there, particularly a very good friend who from New York City, who's a great jazz piano player, but her interest was gospel. So she started a jazz gospel choir in Taos, New Mexico. And I got involved with that, and because I was involved with and knew her, then there was a upright bass player we knew, and she on piano, and we would play a local restaurant here and there every once in a blue moon, and you know, just do some real basics like Misty and Summertime and, you know, those sorts of, you know, that everybody does.
Everybody does.
And so, but it was a fun, interesting learning experience. And I really enjoyed her piano work and her support of the gospel choir, which was really a lot of fun.
So let's take a few moments and listen to a couple cuts of you and Dane, because I have your CD here, and we'll listen to a couple cuts, and maybe we can also find a gospel jazz thing to play as well.
Okay.
And so hold on just a minute, and let me just cue this up.
Speak low when you speak love. Our summer day withers away too soon, too soon. Speak low when you speak love. Our moments swift like ships adrift, we're swept apart too soon. Speak low, darling, speak low. Love is a spark lost in the dark. Too soon, too soon. I feel wherever I go that tomorrow is near, tomorrow is here, and always too soon. Time is so old and love so brief. Love is pure gold and time a thief. We're late, darling, we're late. The curtain descends, everything ends. Too soon, too soon. I wait, darling, I wait. Will you speak low to me? Speak love. Time is so old and love so brief. Love is pure gold and time a thief. We're late, darling, we're late. The curtain descends, everything ends. Too soon, too soon. I wait, darling, I wait. Will you speak low to me? Speak love to me. Speak low to me. Speak love to me.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Oh, some come crippled, some come away, but I can't trust him in Jesus' name. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Oh, if you don't believe I've been redeemed, follow me down to the Jordan stream. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I know that I've got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. 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 All right.
All right, you're listening to KMKR 99.9 FM, Tucson, Arizona, and we're coming up to the top of the hour here. It's about 7 o'clock, and we've been listening to an interview with Edie Steed, my dear friend, and we listened to a couple tracks. We listened to a track with her and Dane Dexter doing a song called Speak Low. And then we found some really cool gospel pieces. The first one we played was That's All Right by Willie Mae Ford Smith, who was a very famous gospel singer in St. Louis. And then the O'Neill Twins and the Interfaith Choir, It's a Highway to Heaven. So both Willie Mae Ford Smith and the O'Neill Twins were featured in the movie Say Amen, Somebody. That was recorded quite a while ago. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this interview, and we will get back to it with Edie Steed on KMKR Radio 99.9 FM. We are in Tucson, Arizona. All right, so Edie, we just listened to the O'Neill Twins from the soundtrack of the movie Say Amen, Somebody. Tell me about this.
Well, that movie could have been a documentary of my life in Northside, St. Louis, Missouri. Back in high school, I was, and all through growing up with my parents, we were raised in church, and that meant that you did everything. You were in the choir, you were running the Sunday school, you went to the Baptist convention as a delegate, and you were on the usher board. But it was a very close-knit community of choirs and musicians. And one of the group of musicians that built a large choir also did a lot of work with James Cleveland out of Chicago, Reverend James Cleveland. Mm-hmm. But it's the O'Neill Twins and the Interfaith Choir. So many of my high school classmates were a part of that choir, and a lot of the movie Say Amen, Somebody focused on Willie Mae Ford Smith, who was the grandmother to one of my best friends in high school, and had known and been in their Pentecostal church and sat around their kitchen table and informally sing, and not really understand the caliber of people that I was associating with, and in some ways took it a lot for granted. But if you ever get a chance to preview the whole movie, Say Amen, Somebody is just a wonderful look inside of a time capsule of music, church music, and characters involved in that community. So I was very blessed to.
You said your sister-in-law was in the movie?
Well, she was in the audience in one of the movies. One of the scenes was at Antioch Baptist Church, which was right across from their house where she grew up in. And so all she had to do was go across the street, and the big concert was being held there, and they were filming sort of a dedication concert to, they called her Mother Bessie Mae Ford Smith, and as sort of a tribute to her. And so if you look carefully in the audience, there's a lady with a pink salmon pantsuit on, which her own mother would probably get after her for wearing a pantsuit in church. Oh. But
right.
Every time I watch the movie, I make sure I hold it on and pause it on that spot and say, "Hey, there's Sheila."
Oh, that's hilarious. What a rich tradition.
It really was, and it's something I'm not sure that really happens anymore. But maybe it really does. Because moved away from St. Louis in 1980 and kind of came into a different reality of New Mexico and hippies and multicultural community.
Yes.
But in that sense, even though I was in a small microcosm and interacting with a lot of new and different people, music somehow has always followed me. It followed me from Taos, and it followed me down into Silver City, and had a relationship became acquainted with Dane, and who is now 95 years old in a VA nursing home in Tucson.
Right.
But there's a piano there.
Oh, good. So he gets to play.
He gets to play.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm hoping to see him real soon, and we'll walk down memory lane together. But Silver City definitely had provided me a lot of opportunity, and I came here to be the Chief Information Officer at Gila Regional Medical Center. So my whole life career has been focused on computers and technology and systems, both in banking and in healthcare. And it just so happened that the clinical director of the behavioral health department husband is a great guitar player, specifically blues guitar player. And so she invited me to meet him, and I started going to a local Friday night church, is what they call it.
Yeah, with Jason.
Yes.
Yeah,
With
that's where I
Jason
met you.
Heaven.
And that's where I met you.
So that's when I got the first Venus Vox spark.
That's true. We started playing music there together.
So it was a wonderful... all I can tell you is just a stew of musicians from far and wide, of a caliber that I felt very intimidated, even trying to associate with, let alone get up there and sing a song. And after going to so many Friday night church jams, met musicians there that became my band.
Exactly. And what was your band called?
My band was called Silver Blue Roots.
Nice.
Because here we are in Silver City, and to encounter in the middle of nowhere Black Roots music, and I claim it as Black Roots music, but it belongs to everyone, and everyone, even early on, had a hand in it. But that extension from gospel to the blues was a very natural one for me. And before I knew it, I had a lead guitar player, a bass player from England.
More multiculturalism.
More multiculturalism. A female drummer.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, Carolyn. Carolyn was a great rock and roll drummer, but she fit right in. And even before the blues band took hold, Roger, who is the bass player, started playing lead guitar, and Danny Cordova, who's a well-known musician here locally and guitar player, was playing bass. And so it was a threesome, and I had a tambourine, which my rhythm is notoriously bad, but the beat was good enough, and dancers were dancing. So we really enjoyed the time we had building that repertoire and then performing it locally in a way that we didn't care whether we got paid or not. I didn't really understand tip jars, but I got a free drink at the local wine bar, and it was such a tiny place. And the band would take up half the floor, so the dancers would have to dance in the street.
So, Edie, would you say that sort of the pinnacle of that blues band was when you got to play at the Silver City Blues Festival?
Yes, as we did more local playing and just was asked, would you mind playing at the Blues Fest? And I said, oh, we'd love it, and da-da-da. It really wasn't, again, did not really realize, the significance of that. We just wanted happy dancers to dance out in front of us, and the Silver City Blues Fest locale was the perfect place for that, under the gazebo with all the dancers out in front of you. And that was when we were most happiest. But I've done the Blues Fest 3 different times with a mix of different local players, and it's just been a joy every time.
So let's take a moment, and I have some recordings of you playing with your blues band. Let's go ahead and listen to a few tracks. All right,
sounds great.
We'll be right back.
Happiness will never leave. Nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece. We'll buy a house and garden somewhere down a country road a piece. It's a little cottage out the outskirts, baby. We can find relief. 'Cause nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah. Ba-ba-da. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-way, oh yeah. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-way, oh yeah. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-way, oh yeah. The more I'm with you, pretty baby, the more I feel my love increase. I'm building all my dreams around you, baby. Happiness will never leave. 'Cause nothing's any good without you. Baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah, yeah. I feel my love increase. I'm building all my dreams around you, baby. Happiness will never leave. 'Cause nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah. We'll buy a house and garden somewhere down a country road a piece. It's a little cottage out in Bayard, baby. We can find relief. Nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah. Go! Hey, hey. will never leave. Nothing's any good without you. Baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah. We'll buy a house and garden somewhere down a country road of peace. It's a little cottage out in Tyrone, baby. We can find relief. 'Cause nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece, yeah. Can find relief, but nothing's any good without you. 'Cause baby, you're my centerpiece. Thank you very much. Every day I have the blues, every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. You know the Lord has brought me from a mighty long ways, and yes, He taught me how to kneel and how to pray, but every day, every way, I have the blues. Ah, nobody loves me, nobody really cares, yeah. I say nobody loves me, nobody really cares. Hey, 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 every day I have the blues, every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. Come on, baby. Every day I have the blues, every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. You know I struggle, find it hard to get along, just trying to sing a happy song, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. Ah, nobody loves me, nobody really cares. I said nobody really cares. Hey, 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 every day I have the blues every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose it every day. Oh, every way I have the blues. Every day I have the blues, every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. You know I struggle, find it hard to get along, just trying to sing a happy song, but every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. Nobody loves me, nobody really cares. I say nobody loves me, nobody really cares. Hey, 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 every day I have the blues, every day. I ain't got nothing left to lose, and every day, oh, every way, I have the blues. You know the Lord has brought me from a mighty long ways. Yes, He taught me how to kneel and how to pray every day, oh, every way. I have the blues. Oh, every way, every day, I have the blues. Oh, every way, every day, I got them blues. Hey. All right. Not really, not every day. to be someone else. Loving you more, love you more. I know you, it may cry now. If not for you, I would be down. But you can't love me right, baby. Ain't no use in hanging around. Hey, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, yes I know you look so hard. Everything I did was no doubt. But if you can't remember, baby, ain't no use in hanging around. Come on, give me some love.
So those were 3 tracks from Edie Steed's live recording at the Twisted Vine with her blues band, the Silver Roots Blues Band. Doing Centerpiece was the first one. Every Day, Every Way, I Have the Blues. And finishing with I Know You Don't Love Me No More. Anyway, but we do love you, Edie. And here's the rest of our interview with Edie today. Okay, hey, Edie, so one of the things that you were telling me about earlier was that you were in Taos and you really enjoyed working with a piano player there too, and you were doing gospel jazz stuff. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, Mary Bruschini was a New York jazz musician but loved gospel. So she organized a gospel choir. And having grown up in New York and Brooklyn, she sort of had the same exposure to the St. Louis type style gospel sing, though for her it was more from an outsider looking in, but she loved the piano parts to playing gospel music, and because she had her degree in music, she liked to put together different voices. And so she began putting some local people together who like to sing, and we created some gospel numbers, and they became really well put together, performing locally at the Taos Inn. They did a yearly concert there. She brought in different gospel people to do a workshop, and I'm trying to remember his name. He's now retired out of Phoenix. But anyway, getting that exposure. But one of the funniest things that happened as we began to our first few rehearsals and putting songs together, one of the ladies said, I really like these songs, but why do we have to sing about Jesus?
Well, it's gospel, right?
It's gospel.
Gospel.
And so that sort of says for me, music can be musically understood and accepted no matter what the content is for the sake of music. Whereas I've approached music from more of an emotional standpoint. And Roger, the bass player, good friend from England, it said to me one time as we were doing some of our Silver Blue Roots music, he said, I've never seen anyone who felt the music as much as you did.
Wow.
And that's probably my way of doing it, because I'm not doing it from a musical perspective, but doing it from an emotional perspective. So even some of the jazz ballads, my emphasis is on lyrics and the emotions behind the lyrics. And because jazz musicians and writers put a lot of changes in that enhances the lyric for the purpose of the emotion, I think that's why jazz and some of the jazz standards, and especially what Dane and I worked on together, yes, it was learning the music and the changes, but for me as a singer, it's more about the lyric.
So that's really interesting. And that brings me to the question you mentioned, moving to Albuquerque and some of your early exposure to jazz. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Albuquerque being just a bigger city, and went to Albuquerque for an IT computer position again, and at Loveless Health Systems. And one of my coworkers, we must have been talking, and he actually had a fake book, and because he asked me, I said, well, I like jazz, and I try and listen and get music that way from different records and CDs, and I said, no, I don't really read music, and said, well, I think you might be interested in this book. And so he gave it to me, and on the cover of it, and it was just a paper cover, was a hand-drawn picture of Betty Carter. And really, I didn't know who Betty Carter was, and I think on the cover it said Betty Boop.
Betty Boop?
I don't know if that
Betty
was
Bebop, maybe?
Betty Bebop. That
Betty
was
Bebop,
it.
yeah.
Betty Bebop was her nickname, and it's like, I don't know this person. I've just been, for me, if it wasn't Billie Holiday and if it wasn't Ella Fitzgerald, and Carmen McRae, I didn't really know other, female jazz voices. And so I started researching who Betty Carter was and finding her music. And as I went through this fake book, it gave me a whole A to Z. I think there's a Z in there. It gave me a whole A to Z repertoire to learn from. And because I've had experience as playing the clarinet, I could read treble clef.
Oh, good.
And so I could get the notes right. I don't know still how to play chords, but I can listen, and I can then at least read the treble line.
Wow, what an exposure to a whole, would you say that was more of an avant-garde style of jazz that you hadn't been exposed to before?
Yeah, a little bit more avant-garde, to where even, if it wasn't a vocalist, and I started listening to more instrumental, and sometimes, when you're listening to things like Thelonious Monk, and, Pharoah Sanders, or someone who's really out there, it's almost unlistenable. It wasn't understandable to me until I got further and deeper into listening to the music and really understanding what they were trying to do with the different themes that were coming about. So I learned how to listen to more avant-garde instrumentalists, and learned a lot more from other vocalists of the difference between bending something musically, styling it, changing the meter, so you can make it your own. So it does not have to be as rigid. But if I want to learn a tune that I don't really know, and I don't have music to play the treble line, I'll pick an artist like Ella Fitzgerald or Margaret Whiting, or someone who sang it straight, as Dane would say, who sang it as written.
So that's what Dane would say?
That's what Dane said. You're singing it wrong. And so sometimes what I would find that depending on who I learned it from, I was doing a variation from their own variation, and so it was not as Dane being very, an orchestrator and an arranger. If you're not reading it and doing it as written, especially if you're not being true to the composer. So I try and approach things from that mindset, but then also try and make it my own within the boundaries of time and of chord.
Harmony.
Of harmony, yes.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's so cool. What a great way to think about it. Because, right, Ella did sing in the pocket all the time. And
she was in the pocket, and then when she scattered,
she would go. Her voice then became an instrument. And so you can copy Ella's scatting, but whether she was doing it on the fly out of her own musicianship, or was it orchestrated, or was it arranged, and then she just learned the part? I have a feeling she knew her own instrument very well to scat and be creative, but still do it where it was, you knew what she was doing. It wasn't crazy. Sometimes you'll hear some folks, and I'll do it myself, and start scatting over something and was like, that was really crazy. That was just wrong. I was just flying by the seat of my pants and getting ripped. Yeah, I was always under the impression that Ella knew her chords and she knew what she was doing and she was scatting. That wasn't orchestrated.
Right.
And because there are definitely ways to learn that stuff. Learn. But to hear people kind of go way more out, like Betty Carter, she takes a little bit more of a discerning ear to listen to.
Right, she does, because she takes those leaps and chances that are, as you say, more avant-garde, as if she was a wild saxophone.
Right.
That can go from scale, that goes from high to low and one note and trills and three different other chords, But amazing to listen to and learn from, and that musicianship will always tell.
So who have been some of your favorite favorite singers, maybe favorite songs that you like of theirs?
My favorite really is, and even as I was just beginning to discover her, and because one of the things that she did was Carmen McRae Sings Monk.
Oh, I love that.
And it really was, she made Monk listenable for me. The changes that she can make, and she just puts a lot of, emotion or really detail in what she was singing. in lyric and tone that personalized it in such a way that I just really am just a strong admirer of hers, and what she was able to do with different, sometimes just with a piano player. Or Kyle Tater, was a big accompanist for her. So, and I can't even tell you that I've listened to all of Carmen's stuff, but I got so stuck into Carmen. I think you told me one time that there are other people who can sing that differently. Do you remember telling me that?
No, but I think I introduced you to that CD, actually. That was out of my collection.
I actually first had the Carmen Sings Monk in Taos.
Oh, did you? Okay, because I reintroduced you to it, though, because I remember we were going through my CDs and said, hey, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and because, for sometimes, it's like I don't really call myself any kind of professional musician or singer. I really term myself as a hobbyist, because it all depends on what I was doing or listening to at the time. But practically most of my last 35 to 40 years has been as a technology manager. And, I was one of those people where I was at the end of a beeper. And so my life was all about, spending a regular 8 to 9 hours at work, being on beeper at the rest of the time, and getting up in the middle of the night. And so, it was really difficult, because, being in small organizations, and you're the singular IT person back, in a time period where all of that was just changing and growing and da-da-da-da-da-da. So it was really a time consuming of my life that I never really thought of myself seriously pursuing music at all until now that I've retired and had the opportunity to meet folks like Dane and have a young piano player, 35 years old, who's interested, in the old music. So I'm teaching Ben the Dane Dexter songbook, and hopefully he can then pass it on to someone else.
That's so cool. So do you think you guys will make a CD or do some recording sometime soon?
We hope to. I think the joy of building and rehearsing for Ben and learning the music, and wanting to get better at his piano playing. And so he's in that learning mode, and whether or not we'll get serious enough to play or record, but right now we're happy with playing locally in a couple of restaurants here every other Tuesday at Diane's Parlor here in Silver City, and then every other Tuesday at Revel.
Oh, I thought it was Thursdays.
Every other Thursday, thank you.
Okay.
Every other Thursday at Revel. So we're going to really, this fall, see if we can really build our repertoire, and the feedback that we've already gotten. The people have been really, really happy. Number one, that I'm kind of back, even though I'm not back with Dane, but to see a young piano player and hearing some different things from us, I think we'll have a pretty good warm and cozy fall.
Oh, that sounds so nice. So I just want everybody to know, if you take a little trip up to Silver City, which a lot of people from Tucson do, by the way. I know many people come up to the Blues Festival in Silver City. But plan your trip around being able to come up and hear Edie and Ben perform at either Diane's or Revel. That was every other Tuesday at Diane's and every other Thursday at Revel. And both places have really good food, too.
Oh, the food is fantastic. And one of the interesting things about Revel, Ben is actually, in his full-time life, a forest fire fighter. And so while he has been away fighting fires this summer, I've been going into Revel on Thursdays, working with the chef and owner, Brian Patterson, has a degree in piano.
Oh my goodness. What a small world.
What a small world. And so he came out of the kitchen and sat down at the piano. And the difference between Ben and Brian reads music. And he has to have a good arranged piece of music in order to play.
Okay.
But he loves jazz, and again, here's a young man who loves the old jazz. Sarah Vaughan is one of his favorites, and so he has a lot of her arrangements, and
cool.
so we sing very well together, and he keeps me on the straight and narrow, but he knows enough that if I go down a pig trail, he can follow me and bring me back out.
Oh, good. Oh, that is so awesome. I mean, I'm just so happy that you have these opportunities in such a tiny little town, Silver City.
I know.
Who would have ever guessed?
Who knew?
Yeah, and so your trip your travels have taken you from St. Louis and the gospel choirs of St. Louis, going down to Taos and Albuquerque. You kind of were back and forth between Albuquerque and Taos a couple times.
Yeah, a couple of times moved back and forth, but it was always for a computer work job and really not for music.
But having the musical outlets in both places.
Yeah, so it was really a good little training ground, and as an old gospel song would say, you look back and wonder how you got over. And that's Mahalia Jackson. So when you look back and wonder, you see all the little signposts and the people who intervened and who encouraged and promoted. And to say that here I am getting ready to turn 65, and I'm kind of just at the beginning of thinking about music as something that's bigger than a hobby.
Amen. Say amen, somebody.
Say amen, somebody.
Well, Edie, I really hope that we hear more from you. I hope that you're able to make some recordings with Ben. And I'm so grateful that you and I got to meet at Friday Night Church.
Yay!
And we've been friends all these years. And remember when we went to we were in Oakland.
I don't even know why or how you were there, but my niece lives in San Francisco, and because I was doing remote computer work, it didn't really matter if I was here in Silver City or not. So I took a little trip to San Francisco, rented a little B&B, a little apartment. Yeah,
Airbnb-like thing.
Yeah, I don't even know how I got it. But then Erika shows up, and because, Venus Vox shows up, and she found this gallery.
It was a gallery,
It was a gallery that had a jazz open mic. And so, let's go check it out, she says. And here we go in, and there's a desk there, and before I realize it, Venus puts our name down on the list. And there's this big crowd. It was a big place, pretty crowded. And with a grand piano on the stage, upright bass player, saxophones. There's this trombone player. When he walked in the room,
everybody cheered.
They stood up and applauded. And it's like, oh my God, Erika, go take our name off. Venus. Oh my gosh, Venus, go take our name off.
I know.
The list.
And then
I was scared to death.
And then you said, let's go outside. It's like, no. We can't move. We can't move.
I was paralyzed. They're going to call our name any minute.
And we got up there. We killed it. We slayed
We got
it.
up there, and Eric and Venus pulled her flute out, And before I knew it, she was directing me with her eyebrows. And the bass player thought we were fabulous.
Yes.
It's so fabulous that I started scatting.
That's right.
So I could scat to give everybody a ride. I gave the piano a ride. I gave the flute a ride. The drummer even got a ride. The bass player got a ride. We were wonderful.
We were great.
All I can say was just an out-of-body experience.
It was.
That was the
wasn't
only
it?
way we accomplished it. And we could go back today if we wanted to. And then the next day we went over to the John Coltrane
Oh,
Church.
that's right. We did.
Yes, and
That's
set in
right.
on their service.
Yeah.
And they didn't want us to go.
No, they didn't want us to go. You're right.
So whenever we're ready to go back to San Francisco and
Ooh.
Oakland, we'll be welcomed.
Absolutely. Oh, I can't wait, Edie. Oh, that'll be so much
It
fun.
would be fun.
Well, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much for sharing these memories and being my
Yes.
Sparky. I love you the most.
I love you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that was today's interview with my dear friend Edie Steed. And if you get a chance to hear her, hopefully we can get her to Tucson soon. I know so many people from Tucson go to Silver City to the Blues Festival, so many of you may have heard her since she did play at it 3 times. Another local person who's played there is Heather Hardy, and that's where I first heard Heather. Yeah, a lot of great singers and a lot of great musicians. Ruthie Foster came through, different people. And we are coming towards the end of our show. I'm so happy that you've been with us today. And I'm just going to take this last couple minutes that we have and play a few more songs from Edie's repertoire. We'll finish up. So stay tuned for the show coming after us is the Vinyl Wizard with his wonderful wizardry and all the different wonderful vinyl pieces that he has. And don't forget to keep your radio dial tuned to K-Maker Radio, KMKR-LP. At 99.9 FM in Tucson, Arizona. We're so happy to be able to be supporting our community through music and interviews and information for you. Also, I forget to say that on Tuesday nights there is the WTF, the Women Trans Femme Night upstairs, where women and women identifying people who want to come and have a hacker space, in other words, being able to do woodworking, learning how to use the laser printer, doing different arts and crafts. And it's a wonderful community. It's really fun. I enjoy hanging out afterwards for a while and getting to talk with everybody. But you are welcome. And that's a free evening for women, trans, and femme identifying people. So stay tuned, and I will have a few more songs from Edie. Enjoy your week. I look forward to coming back next week, bringing you Venus Rising Radio with your host, Venus Vox. And if you do have any suggestions of people that you would like me to interview or to have to put a spotlight on their music, local Tucson musicians, female musicians, give me a shout out. Send me a message on Facebook. You can find me under Venus Vox on Facebook. Friend me there. As my mantra, my guiding light is to empower women musicians through community. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful time so far getting to meet many different female musicians in Tucson and to hear their music and hear their stories and where they come from and what motivates them to do the music that they do. And we are so much the richer that they do this. And I really appreciate knowing all the different musicians in Tucson. So let's keep on rocking. Let's keep on playing that music, y'all. Bye.
Unchain my heart, baby, let me go. Unchain my heart, 'cause you don't care about me. You got me sewed up like a pillowcase. You let my love go to waste. So unchain my heart, please set me free. Unchain my heart, baby, let me go. Unchain my heart, 'cause you don't love me no more. Every time I call you on the phone, some girl says you're not at home. So unchain my heart, please set me free. I'm under your spell, like a man in a trance. But I know darn well I don't stand a chance. So unchain my heart, let me go my way. Unchain my heart, you worry me night and day. Why lead me through a life of misery? You don't care a bag of beans about me. So unchain my heart, please set me free. Unchain my heart, baby, let me be. Unchain my heart, 'cause you don't care about me. You got me sewed up like a pillowcase. You let my love go to waste. So unchain my heart, please set me free. Unchain my heart, baby, let me go. Unchain my heart, 'cause you don't love me no more. Every time I call you on the phone, some girl tells me you're not at home. So unchain my heart, please set me free. me go my way. Unchain my heart. You worry me night and day. Why lead me through a life of misery when you don't care a peck on me? Unchain my heart. Please set me free. Won't you set me free? Please set me free. Oh, set me free. Oh, set me free. Unchain my heart. Please set me free. All right. Thank you very much.